Hey there, we are Nicole and Mico, and earlier this year we completed the O Circuit in Patagonia's Torres del Paine National Park. In this video, we are going to be sharing with you everything that we packed for this 120-kilometer hike. And if you have come to this video because you are actually going to be hiking the W Trek, stay tuned because the W Trek's actually just the second half of the O Circuit. So everything that we share here today is going to be relevant for both W Trekkers and O Trekkers.
Throughout this video, we'll give you as many helpful tips as we can about both the O and the W Treks. We'll answer questions like how accessible is drinking water, garbage cans, showers, toilets, plugins for your devices, questions that seem small but can make a big difference when you're packing for a trip like this.
We've already made another video documenting our experience hiking on the O Circuit, so you can go and check that out afterwards if you would like to see what it's like to hike 75 miles through Patagonia. But this is a packing video, so let's talk gear. Okay, let's get started with my clothing first. So I brought with me 3 shirts, 1 pair of hiking pants, 1 sweater. This guy is merino. And then I also brought with me a thin base layer top and a thin base layer bottom. I do use these when I'm hiking as like underneath everything if it's a really chilly morning. I brought 1 sports bra, 3 pairs of underwear, 2 of which were merino wool, 3 socks, 1 second, I've dropped one. 3 pairs of socks, 1 of which was merino wool. And then I also have another base layer. So this is a really thick base layer bottom and a thick base layer top. And these I really used as my pajamas at night, just to stay warm.
Nicole runs a little bit colder than most people.
I run very cold, yeah. I run very cold. And then I put everything into this Eagle Creek compression sack. It's just their small size. Keep in mind that every day I was wearing like, you know, sweater, pants, 1 shirt, some of these guys. So not a lot has to actually fit into the compression sack because most of it I'm actually wearing or carrying with me in case it gets cold.
So I packed 4 shirts, 2 of which are merino and 1 is synthetic, and I use those 3 for hiking during the day. And then I have a more casual cotton shirt that I use for nighttime because I sweat a lot during the day and I prefer not to wear the same thing to bed. For my hiking pants, I have the Patagonia Quandary line. Nicole also has Patagonia, and we just love the brand and love these pants because they're just super lightweight and great for hiking during the day. I got a sweater here. This is from Lululemon. I also have another sweater that I can't show you here. Nicole and I are actually traveling full time, and Patagonia was just a stop on our long kind of 7-month trip throughout South America. So we have ended up sending a lot of our clothing home and also a lot of our camping gear.
Yeah, so one of Mico's sweaters already went home, and that's the sweater that you wore at nighttime, right? This is the one you wore hiking. The other sweater was like your fleece sweater for evening.
Yeah, exactly. And I also have shorts that I wore sometimes at the Refugios. I honestly didn't wear it that often, so I could probably have left that at home. And I also have base layer bottoms. They're from Under Armour. These were awesome at night because it could be a little bit chilly even inside our sleeping bags, so this was helpful to have. 3 socks, 3 pairs of underwear that we also washed partway throughout the trip. 2 are ex officio, 1 is merino, and these are awesome for sweaty adventures like this. And then I packed everything in an Eagle Creek Spectre bag. This was awesome because it's long and it was, I don't want to give it away, but it was perfect for packing my dessert.
Before I forget, we should say that we will link as many of these items as we can down in the description below. Not everything is gonna fit there, so we do have a full packing list that you can click on and see everything that we bring for travel, including what we brought for this adventure.
All right, so the next thing we're gonna talk about is outerwear. Now, Patagonia has a notorious reputation for having all 4 seasons in one day. Yeah. It can be like a blizzard in the morning, and then you can have blazing hot sun in the afternoon, crazy showers in the late afternoon.
And tons of wind, so much wind.
Tons of wind, just the whole day.
Always windy in Patagonia.
So it's very important to have a really good layering system. Nicole and I basically have pretty much the same kind of layering system.
We have the exact same layering.
Exact same layering. It starts off with having a good shirt, like we talked about earlier, a nice sweater, and then the next layer that we put on is usually our micro puff. It looks like this when it's all packed up, and Nicole has it all unpacked. These are the Patagonia Micro Puff hoodies. We love traveling with this. We love hiking with this. We have a lot of Patagonia stuff. That's a coincidence.
That wasn't intentional. It's not like we're going to Patagonia. Let's get Patagonia gear. We just love the brand.
We just love the brand.
Yeah.
And we really like these Micro Puffs because they fold down really tiny. They're super light. Yeah. They dry quickly too.
Yeah, and they're really durable. And honestly, like I think they're just really good at regulating. Like I never feel super hot or of course too cold in them. They do a very good job of keeping us warm.
Yeah, they're expensive, but what you're paying for is that warmth to weight ratio. These are excellent.
Yeah, they're great.
The next thing after that, if we want some more warmth or we want some refuge from the wind, or just obviously to be out of the rain, we have our Patagonia rain jackets. These are the torrent shells. These are also excellent They also fold up into nothing like that. If it's raining a little bit, but you're still warm, you don't need the micro puff. We just put on our rain jackets. Or obviously if it's raining and cold, then we'll put everything on.
Between those three sort of, I'd say, layering systems, like the sweater, the micro puff, and the raincoat, we're good for any weather.
And then a couple small extras. We have a buff. I love the buff.
I lost my buff.
Nicole lost her buff in Peru.
Yes,
so
but
sad.
I had it in Chile for Patagonia. I lost it later, which is really disappointing. The next thing we have are our toques, or I guess beanies or hats. I don't know what you call it. We call it toques because we're Canadian. But it's just like a warm hat for the cold mornings and evenings mostly. And then we also have a pair of gloves. The only other thing that we would have brought that we didn't bring as outerwear were ball caps. We didn't bring like caps.
Like sun hats would be good.
We should have done that. And one other thing that's not here, just because we've actually sent it home already, are rain pants. We did bring rain pants. I'm so glad we did, because rain pants, obviously, they protected us from the rain. They also really protected us from the wind. I use them a lot just as a wind layer to try and protect from the very bad Patagonian wind.
So the next thing we're gonna talk about is footwear. So if you're gonna spend money on anything, we highly recommend spending it on a jacket and also boots. Now we don't have our boots with us here because, like we said earlier, we're traveling full time, and we actually ended up sending our boots home. I have the Scarpa Kalish Plus GTX, and those boots work great for me.
I think mine are Zamberland, but we'll link them down below. I don't remember all the details.
Now it's also really important to buy those boots at home, and you make sure you wear those boots at least a few times before you actually come to Patagonia. You don't want the first time that you're putting on hiking boots to be at the Patagonia trailhead. That's just a recipe for disaster. Other footwear that we brought, I guess flip-flops that I'm wearing. Here's one, and then here's the other.
This is Mico's camp shoe.
These are my camp shoes.
They were also our shower shoes.
And good for the shower as well.
Yes, and we shared those. The only other footwear that I brought, I actually picked up in Chile, but we'll link to something similar because you can get these easily online as well. These are like just a camp shoe. They're just comfy, cozy, warm, squishy, soft, because I hate wearing my hiking boots around after we've been hiking all day, but I need some warmth after that. So anyways, turns out they're great as slippers, so I still have them and I wear them all the time.
So the next part is our shelter and sleep system. The first thing we'll talk about here is, you don't see it on the table, but it is our tent. Again, we sent that home, but we had the Hubba MSR 2-person tent. It's a really great lightweight trekking tent.
Yeah, it fits just the two of us perfectly. It does not fit our bags inside the tent. It is small.
For our sleeping bags, we had the Mountain Hardware or Mountain
Wear.
Mountain Gear Wear. We're not exactly sure. We'll put a link in the description.
And we'll put a picture up.
All I know is that it was rated for -7 degrees Celsius, and that was perfect. So I don't think you need anything like thicker than that. And I probably wouldn't go anything lighter than that unless you have lots of layers on. So we also had sleeping mats. We had the kind of blow up style sleeping mats. Now you can get the thinner ones that are like almost like yoga mats.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't recommend it. Sleeping on the ground is fine when you're in the fields in the first few days of the O Trek. But then once you start getting to the tent pads, especially on the W Trek, those wooden tent pads,
yeah,
that can be really painful on the back.
So having the blow up mat versus just like a really thin kind of yoga mat style, I was so glad we had those. Those really saved us.
To us, that was worth the little bit of extra weight for much, much nicer sleep.
Yeah. The other thing we brought with us are these silk and cotton liners. We use these inside of our sleeping bags. They're just like an extra thin layer. We love them. They're probably not necessary, but they make for a really comfortable sleep. I brought with us a like blow up packing camping pillow. Mico for a pillow. I just use
my clothes.
Yeah.
You just take your clothes, you stuff it into that like packing cube I showed earlier, and that works like a great pillow for me.
That's his pillow. And then on top of that, we just have an eye mask, and we each bring earplugs. You might think, you're in nature, why do you need earplugs? Because other campers are noisy.
Yep, they can be very, very noisy, and the tents are very close together, so the earplugs are very helpful, and the eye mask is just a habit.
All right, let's talk cooking equipment. So when you're hiking the O Trek or the W Trek, you do have the option to get food along the way, have it prepared for you, or even just buy ingredients as you go. We chose to save on cost and bring all of our own food. Now, to cook our own food, we had a jet boil with us. That's not here in front of us, but we brought that with us, as well as the fuel that you need for a jet boil, of course. And then we based all of our meals around the jet boil. Now, a jet boil basically just allows us to boil water, and then we can add that boiling water to whatever we want to create a meal. So all we brought with us to actually do cooking with, if you will, are these two Sea to Summit collapsible bowl cups. They have lids on top, and they squish down to nothing. And we just brought a collapsible spork each. And we brought a foldable knife, and that is all. We didn't bring any pots or pans because again, we chose to just arrange everything around the jet boil, and we'll explain the food that we brought in a couple of minutes here.
In addition to this stuff, we just have a lighter just in case our jet boil doesn't work. The little like ignition system doesn't work. And we carried all our food in just a shoe bag because that's all we had. If we had a choice to do it all over again, we probably would have brought like one of these packable totes, and then these would have been a lot easier to bring all of our like cooking equipment and food to the kitchen whenever we got to Refugio. Only other thing I think I'll mention is that we had water bottles. I have the Hydro Flask water bottle, and then I changed out the lid. Don't forget, you can always do that. If you don't like the lid of a water bottle, you can get a third-party lid, and that makes it a lot better. And then Nicole had a water bottle, but it was really heavy, her normal one.
Yeah, I hate my water bottle, and so instead of bringing my usual water bottle, I actually just bought 2 1-liter bottles of Sprite. We drank the Sprite.
Which on the first day, which is awesome.
And that's, oh yeah, we brought it actually on the trail. And then I just refilled those with water as we went. And in regards to clean drinking water, clean water to use, you can get it at every Refugio. We never had a problem getting water. We actually brought a SteriPen with us, thinking that we would need to like get water from streams along the day of hiking and then clean it with our SteriPen. We never used it. Don't bring a filter system. You don't need one. At every Refugio, you'll get a sink with clean drinking water that of course can also be used for cooking and for cleaning your dishes. The cooking situation is good, it's easy, and it's reliable at all the camping sites along the entire O circuit. Food was one of the more challenging parts of this trek to organize because we were carrying 10 days worth of food. So thankfully, we had actually purchased some things back in Canada and brought them with us for our trip trekking through the O circuit. For breakfasts, we brought with us 6 days worth of instant oatmeal packages. We just had little packets, and we would literally dump them into this cup, fill it up with boiling water, and there we had porridge. We also brought 3 days worth of just granola bars, like a really fast, easy meal, because we had a couple of mornings along the trek where we were up super, super early and doing like a cooked breakfast. It was just kind of out of the question. We want something quick and fast.
So for lunches, we kept it also pretty simple. We did basically just cheese, crackers, and sausages. The trick with the cheese and the sausage is to just make sure that you get shelf-stable sausage and then also kind of hard cheeses, because those kind of characteristics for those food items will make sure that they'll last you the entire length of your trip, as there's no real refrigeration during the O circuit. We bought most of that stuff in like locally in Chile, in Punta Arenas or Puerto Natales. Punta Arenas has much better selection than Puerto Natales, just so you know.
Yeah.
So if you need some sausages and cheese and crackers, you can still get that there. You don't have to lug that all the way from wherever you're coming from.
So for dinners, we just organized our meals into 3 different types of meals. So for 5 of our dinners, we actually brought with us from Canada those dehydrated like dinner packs that you can purchase. And again, we just boiled water, our jet boil, poured it in that packet, and poof, we had
Super
dinner
easy.
10 minutes later. You can get those in Chile, but they are a bit more expensive, so that is an option. The second meal we brought with us was a little bit on the heavy side. It was couscous, which of course you can just like add water to and it cooks in a minute. We added beans to that. We brought tortilla wraps, and then I put some spices in there. We just wrapped all that together and ate that. And the third meal that we brought with us was actually like an instant pasta. We found them in Argentina, and basically it was literally just like a pasta packet. You added boiling water, you waited 5 minutes, and poof, you had pasta. We actually also brought little instant soup packs with us. And that was a really nice way to just like sit down, boil water, put it in the soup, and then just have soup while we kind of prepare the rest of our dinner. Just because you're so hungry and usually cold and exhausted. So it was really nice to just like sit back with our soups and chill out.
And lastly, for snacks that we had on the trail, we had the basics like dried fruit, granola bars, instant tea and instant coffee. Those were great in the morning.
Yeah.
And then we each had our own kind of special dessert. So I had this like massive milk chocolate bar that was like, I think at least like a kilo or something. That's probably a lot of chocolate.
It was humongous.
But it was great to eat throughout like the 10 days in Patagonia.
Yeah. And I brought Oreos, actually, like little individual packed like chunks of Oreo, which was fantastic. So we each had like a dessert every night.
So a couple final tips about food. Throughout all the refugios that we went to, there's always like a little like store that each one had. Some were better than others. The O Trek had pretty basic kind of foods in their store, but in the W Trek, it was like pretty lavish, I would say.
We had pretty decent options.
You can buy like pizza and hamburgers at Paine Grande, which was awesome. Well, we didn't have any, but it would look really tempting. So The food at these stores is a little bit pricier,
Yeah.
but like don't fret if you don't bring enough food. You could always find something to kind of get you by.
Another food tip that we can give you is actually about the garbages. So obviously you're gonna create garbage. We found that for the first like 5 or so days of our hike along the O circuit, we had access to garbage cans. But once the O met up with the W, we found garbage cans to be way less common. So be prepared to hike out some of your garbage. Okay, so in front of us we have all of the health and hygiene items that we brought with us for hiking the O trek. So let's start off with some basics. We've got sunscreen, bug spray, hand sanitizer, wilderness wash. This is like a water safe, outdoor safe wash. We use this
multi-purpose.
Yeah, we used it for both washing dishes and actually doing our laundry. And we also, of course, brought a big first aid kit with us. So inside our first aid kit, we have all the necessities for like a physical injury. We also brought with us lots of medication for any ailment really that came up during the trek. And we heavily focused on making sure we had blister treatments in here because I am very prone to blisters. So we brought lots of blister stuff.
And continuing on with health and hygiene, in really no particular order, we have a lot of similar shared things. So razor, that's not shared.
We each have one.
We each have one. Toothbrush.
Also not shared.
Toothpaste shared. We both carry contacts because we both use contact lenses. Shampoo and this like human gear go-to, which is awesome. Surprisingly, there was a lot more access to showers than I originally thought. As it turns out, every refugio that we were at, we had access to hot showers, except for maybe Chileno. But it was great because we were able to take a shower after like a couple long days of hiking. And then we also have bar soap inside these Matador flat pack soap cases, which are excellent. This is a great way to keep your stuff dry and also not get your soap all gooey. I also have lip balm and it's got like SPF 30 on it. Another thing that we both carry is these pack towels. These pack towels are amazing. They're great for like just a regular hand towel or a face wash, or even just like an extra towel for when you're cooking in the kitchen. And for toilet paper,
every refugio has toilet paper and a flushing toilet. We never went without a flushing toilet, which was such a treat. We were really expecting outhouses. But in between refugios, if you do need to use the woods, we had to bring our own toilet paper for that. If you're gonna do this, please bring like a bag and make sure you pack this out with you. Don't leave it in Patagonia, it's so beautiful. Don't make it gross with toilet paper. So bring something where you can pack that out if you do have to use it in between refugios.
Oh, don't bring this much toilet paper. Like you don't need that much. You shouldn't need that much toilet paper.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
I also brought with me deodorant, dry shampoo, a leave-in conditioner, hairbrush. I brought my solid shampoo bar, which I absolutely love. This is the Atique brand, which is what I had on the trail. I brought hand cream, which I would actually highly suggest because we got surprisingly dry out there and I ended up sharing this with lots of other hikers on the trail. And to put everything in, I brought my Sea to Summit toiletry kit. If you've seen any of our other packing videos, you'll already know this guy. So I won't go through it a lot, but it's super lightweight, really durable, and it just organizes everything perfectly. The only other item to mention, I think, is our regular size towel. So this is just like a quick dry. The brand again is Pack Towel. So this is actually like a full size towel and it just dries really quick. So we just hung it up every night and called that a day.
So our next topic is electronics. Now we probably carried a bit more electronics than the next hiker beside us, just because we were vlogging and like obviously making videos for our YouTube channel. So we had a camera and a microphone that is right where you guys are right now. Tripod, this is the Ulanzi tripod. This is great, very minimal. Our
bendy legs.
Headlamps, phones, and then we have this Garmin InReach Mini, which is like good for knowing where you are, sending out SOS signals if you need to. But to be perfectly honest, the trail itself was very well marked.
Yeah.
There's lots of people everywhere. There's always a refugio not too far away.
Yeah.
We never felt like we were so far away into nature that we couldn't get help if we wanted to.
And then to charge everything, we each have a battery bank. So access to plugins at every refugio was actually really good. We never had a problem getting power.
Some places were better than others. The smaller refugios, especially those on like the first couple days of the O trek, the plugins were a bit more limited.
Yeah.
But once you got to W trek, like Paine Grande and like Gray, there's like tons of charged plugins for everybody.
There's also many more people to share that with, but there was lots of options for plugins. So I don't think it's something to be super worried about.
The other couple tips we'll have for about electronics is that you can't have drones in the park, and there's also no phone service in the park, but some refugios like Gray and Paine Grande, they do offer like a Wi-Fi service for a small fee. So if you do need to connect with somebody, you could always do that at some of the refugios. So we also have a miscellaneous category, which is basically stuff that didn't really fit in other categories. We have these Night Eyes carabiners, you know, utility carabiners. These were helpful for setting up the tents. It was also great for like hanging stuff off my backpack. We also have a hero clip, which is just like another carabiner with a nice little cool hook function. Sunglasses, the Sea to Summit clothesline, which has been really useful for those days where we did do laundry. This clothesline actually allows us to kind of hook stuff to it so it doesn't blow away into the wind.
Last couple miscellaneous items, we brought with us some playing cards, which we would highly recommend because there is a lot of downtime in the evenings. This is our sunscreen again, but wrapped around it is duct tape. We did bring extra tape with us just in case we needed to patch any holes. We brought an extra battery in case one of our headlamps stopped working. And of course, we also brought passports. You need to bring your original passports with you when you hike the O or the W trek. We also needed to print off our permit for being in the park. And we also needed our permits for the different campgrounds that we were staying at. They stop you and there's like a checkpoint at every single refugio, so you need to prove that you have a reservation. So make sure you bring that proof with you. And the last thing that you don't see here that we also brought with us were hiking poles. We each brought a pair of hiking poles. I always hike with hiking poles. I am a big advocate of hiking poles.
Going from Los Perros to Gray, it's a really big downhill.
It's super
It's very
steep
steep
downhill.
right after the John Garner Pass.
Yeah.
So highly recommend getting poles just for that one day.
I think poles are a really good choice.
All right, so last but not least, backpacks. Backpacks are a huge part of your hike, and it's really important that you get one that fits you very, very well. We have the Farpoint Trek backpack. I have the Farpoint Trek 55 liter, and Nicole has the Fairview Trek 50 liter. These are hybrid backpacks. It's actually a mixture of like a hiking backpack and a travel backpack. Just because we travel full time,
Yeah.
This works awesome for us. What makes it really a travel backpack is that the front panel opens up, whereas a traditional hiking backpack, the top or the head of the backpack opens up where you can put your stuff.
Honestly, I would actually say this is an even better hiking backpack than it is a travel backpack. I think it's more well suited for hiking because it's got these great like straps down at the bottom here where we hung our sleeping mats. We rolled them up and put them right here. And at the top, the backpack has these great like just two easy access pockets that are great when you're hiking to put all of your like snacks for the day in, maybe toques and mitts, things that you're likely to need along the day.
Snack pockets, they're essential.
They are essential. The other reason that we absolutely love these backpacks is because they have metal frames and they've got a great hip strap system. It's just a really awesome way to carry a lot of weight with you. They've also, of course, got chest straps.
Another cool feature of this backpack is this mesh backing. It's actually kind of neat because your back is never actually touching the main body of the backpack. It touches this mesh, and then right behind it is like all this air, so you can get really nice airflow to your back, keeping you from sweating a lot. Lots of like straps, lots of things to tie to, great big mesh pocket.
Yeah, we love the
water bottles.
We love the water bottle pockets. They're humongous.
We absolutely recommend this backpack for hiking and also for travel. We really like it. It came with this rain cover. This rain cover is a bit more heavy duty than I would like to have for hiking.
Yeah.
But it was what came with the backpack and we just stuck with it.
Yep. The only thing that we wish we had that we didn't have in terms of like backpacks was I wish we brought a tiny little, like one of those super ultra light day packs.
It's just on the W trek when you do the Botanical Mirador, you typically leave your backpack either at your campsite nearby or at the trailhead of the Botanical Mirador.
Yeah.
That's usually an out and back kind of hike and you don't need everything. So a small, lightweight day pack would have been nice.
Yeah, we didn't have that. So we just had to like empty Mico's backpack and put a bunch of stuff in it for the hike up, which was just, it was way too much stuff.
The last thing I'll say about the backpacks is that the size of them, this is a 55 liter and a 50 liter, like I mentioned earlier. These were great for the O trek. If you're doing just the W trek or the W portion of the O trek, you could probably get away with a 30 to 40 liter backpack. We see that's pretty common in packing lists online for those doing W trek. If you want to learn more about what to expect hiking the O and W circuits in Patagonia, then make sure you watch our full Patagonia video where we detail the entire 10-day experience.
Don't forget that down in the description below, you will find a link to our full packing list so you can check out what we've got here as well as the other stuff that we pack for full-time travel.
If you learned something new in this video, then make sure you give it a like. We'd so appreciate it. Also, if you want to see more adventures just like the one we had in Patagonia, then consider subscribing.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed the video. We will see you in the next one.